Welcome to Love is Blind, a podcast about a woman who is out of the pods and ready to tell her story.
And whose ex-fiance was acting a whole fool on Love is Blind and has continued to in the aftermath.
Longboard and all. We have Monica Danus of Love is Blind Season 8 on the pod with us today. We had such a great, candid conversation with her about the whole season and a little bit beyond.
She was so generous with her time. It was such a great conversation. I think all of you will really enjoy it. We got into her time on Love is Blind, how she got onto the show, everything that went down with her sister Nicole, what happened after filming, where she stands with Joey today, and yes, those rumors about Joey dating Sarah. So let's get into that conversation.
We're joined today by Love is Blind Season 8 star Monica Danus. Monica, thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, I know. Thank you guys for having me. This is so exciting.
Oh my gosh, we're so excited to get into everything. We have so many questions for you. It's been like a real trip watching your story play out on the show. And then I feel like, honestly, some of the drama has picked up after.
Oh, yeah. And I feel like it's more dramatic after than on.
Never a dull moment for you.
This season was like, this was the slow burn season. Everything started out so chill and normal, and now it's just exponentially more dramatic the further we get from the pods. So let's start more at the beginning. How did you end up on Love is Blind?
Yeah, so I actually didn't even apply to be on it. A casting director found my Instagram, which is interesting because I wasn't that big on Instagram. So I thought it was fake.
You're like, what scammer?
Exactly.
Is the next thing going to be like, please wire $1,000 to this account?
Exactly. And I happened to show my friends the message. I'm like, oh, LOL, did you guys get this too? And they're like, no, that's real. So just chatted back and forth, and I didn't think I would ever get on. I'm like, that doesn't happen to me, like that's crazy. But then as the process continued, I'm like, this actually might be real. Like, am I ready for this? Am I ready for like getting married, like taking this seriously? And ultimately, after processing it all, I'm just like, yeah, I mean, why not? You meet people in weird ways, so why not? Let's try it.
It's true. It's true. It's a crapshoot no matter where you meet someone. So like,
exactly.
were you a fan of the show beforehand? Like, had you seen previous seasons?
Yes. So I was a fan. So I watched, I think, pretty much all the seasons before. So that's why I'm like, this isn't real. Because like I knew what the show was. I'm like, this doesn't happen to me. Like I don't know. I joke. I'm like, I'm a hobbit that like never leaves my apartment, and I never do anything. I'm like, I'm not cool enough for this. Like, no.
But that's like the perfect mode for pod dating, because you can just like snuggle in on the couch.
So true.
Maybe take a nap during your date.
I actually never did nap, which some people did nap in the pods, and I refused to nap. I'm like, we can't do this time.
Were people like intentionally napping together or just accidentally nodding off?
I heard like some of the girls were like, oh yeah, like we just said, like, let's take a little break because some of the dates got pretty long towards the end. And so they're like, let's just take a little break or take a little nap, like 10-minute. So I never did, but
I don't understand a power nap. I'm like, if I am taking a nap, you'll see me in several hours. Like...
Disoriented, confused.
Have you ever done a coffee nap or like a caffeine nap?
I've tried.
I love these where you have like some coffee or like an energy drink and then you immediately sleep, and like 20 minutes later you wake up and the nap hits you and then the caffeine hits you. So you are ready to go.
Okay, maybe I could do a power nap that includes legal stimulants. That might be up my alley. Okay, so you kind of knew the deal going into Love is Blind, at least from the viewer's perspective. You knew what it was. You knew what the stakes were. Once you got in there, how quickly did you and Joey connect? Was it immediate, or did you feel connections with a bunch of people?
Yeah, so Joey was actually my very first pod date. So the very first time I walked in the door, it was Joey. So we had a connection right off the bat. I think I ranked him because every day we ranked each other. And I think I ranked him third on my list, like that very first day. So we did have a strong connection. I mean, we all talked to each other, so there were definitely other people that I also had connections with, but he was a front runner right away.
That's interesting. Do they use those rankings for anything, or they're just like, you got to rank everyone now?
Well, you have to rank, so there's like an algorithm. So say I rank Joey number 1 and he ranked me number 16. and you know, obviously that didn't happen because we saw each other, but that was like, you maybe wouldn't see that person again. So if he also ranked me high and then I ranked him high, we would see each other. So it was kind of how they made the matches to make sure that you are talking to people that also want to talk to you.
That makes sense.
So sometimes, so like sometimes you weren't quite sure who you were going to talk to because you don't know if like you rank them really high and they hated the date and then you'll never see them again. So it was really interesting.
Right. I guess I always thought that it was sort of like, oh, I'd talk to all 16 of them again, and then you can just talk to all of them again. Like that it was sort of like an on-off switch. It's interesting that they are using an algorithm. Everything's an algorithm now.
Everything is. Everything is. But I mean, it worked out.
Yeah. I mean, what like drew you to Joey initially and like more and more as the process continued?
So initially, just his energy, and like some people that I talked to, it was like harder to get started, like break the ice in conversation, but like right off the bat, it was really easy to talk to him. So it was high energy. And then later down the road when we were dating, I even brought this up to him, like, I love your energy. I love that we can just goof around, but can you also like come down and have like deeper conversations and meaningful conversations? And he was able to show me that. So it started off with the high energy, and then we kind of got deeper as the dates went on.
I feel like the high energy stuff is more of what we saw as viewers.
Yes.
That was to the point where like there are comments later in the process like, oh, do you have enough energy for Joey? And I was like, from what we see, they're really matching each other's high energy throughout. There's always so much energy in the room when you guys were talking.
Yeah. So it was interesting and a little surprising for me to watch back too. Because we're filmed a ton. So like, we don't know totally what they're going to pick. So I was watching back. I'm like, oh my gosh, am I really that high energy all the time? And like, that's part of me for sure. But we did have a lot of like calmer, deeper conversations that didn't necessarily make the cut.
That makes sense. And I feel like as we got to know you more into the show, I was like, okay, I'm getting a better sense of Monica. But at first, honestly, watching the two of you, I was like, I don't think I could handle them. It would be exhausting.
But it makes more sense.
Yes. Like, okay, so that wasn't 100% of the time.
No.
That makes a lot more sense.
There's that one date that we see where you teach him the dance through the wall, which you both had said was like a turning point for your relationship, which was a sort of characteristic high energy moment between you. When did you realize that he was doing the dance wrong? Was it just when you watched it back?
When I watched it back, I'm like, oh, wow, you really didn't understand, did you? Like in that moment, he was explaining what he was doing. I'm like, yeah, okay, that sounds right. Like visually in my head. So watching it back, I'm like, oh, no.
Oh, no, baby.
He was really straight arming it. Those elbows were locked.
Very much. Very much.
So was there anyone else that you were dating seriously in the pods? I think we'd heard that Ben was maybe your number 1 or number 2 at various points. Like, what were your top few guys like?
Yeah, so Ben was my number 1 for a while, and it was between Ben and Joey, like towards the end. I did have connections with other people too. I think my top, like, let's see here, like 5. I think it was, I don't remember the specific order, but it was Joey, Ben. I think Mason was in there. Daniel was in there for a while. Everyone loved Daniel because he's just so sweet. And I think all the women could tell that like, he was just like so sweet and genuine. So we're really happy that he found Taylor. But yeah, I think those were my top 4 for a while. So
no, that makes sense. Those are all people that it seems like were easy to talk to in the pods. Like you get the sense that men that just like know how to speak to women do pretty well in the pods.
I agree.
Like maybe problems come up later, but if they're comfortable and confident in the pods, they're like a lot of people
they're gonna
want to date them.
Mm-hmm.
Something that we obviously saw come up in Ben and Sarah's relationship were discussions about religion and politics. Those are not really conversations that we as viewers saw you and Joey have, but were those conversations that you were having with your various connections as well?
Yes. So every conversation is really interesting because every conversation you see the various couples have, all of the couples had those conversations too. Because if you're thinking about it, like we're looking for a lifelong partner, and those are very serious topics that like you need to know before getting into a marriage. So
one would think,
you know, right? So yeah, Joey and I had all of those conversations as well. And we matched on everything. And I've said this before, like on paper, we were matching completely. And even things that were just kind of bonuses, just like things that like I grew up doing and he also grew up doing. And like I had weird, quirky interests and like he had those same weird, quirky interests. So we hit on those deeper, hard-hitting topics as well as kind of the lighter things as well.
What ended up shifting things where Ben was no longer your number one? Was it just that Joey was lining up more on paper? Was it just a vibe you were catching? Like, what do you think made that shift for you?
Yes, I remember that shift specifically. So it was one of the days and it was kind of the like music activity day. So you saw us like with the headphones listening to music. So that was like my turning point. So I had a date with Ben first and we were listening to music and we were having such a good time. And I remember walking out of that date saying, okay, I think my person's Ben. Like, I think I'm going to pick Ben. And my date with Joey was later. I'm like, he better step it up. Like, it better be great. Cause like my date with Ben was like it. So I remember struggling a lot, but I went into my date with Joey that afternoon. And that was the specific date that like turned it for me. So that was the one that you saw us dancing. But it was actually a very emotional date. So we were going through all of our favorite songs and music and like telling our stories behind why we really liked those songs and what they meant to us and like family stories and feelings. So like it was a very emotional date that connected us. And I remember crying. I was sitting there with my headphones on, just like crying and like holding the ottoman. I wish they kind of showed it.
Sobbing at the silent disco. I love
it. Actually. So getting out of that date, I remember I was so emotional. And I went back in the lounge and I found like a little corner and I like slid down the wall and I was like sobbing. And I'm like, oh my God, I think it's him. So then that next day I went into my date with Ben right away. And I remember I broke down like right when I opened the door. I'm like, Ben, I'm so sorry. Like I have a connection with somebody else. Like I hope you have somebody else here because you're so great. And then he let it spill that Sarah was his pick, and also Joey was also seeing Sarah, so I didn't know about that. Anyway. Yes.
Oh, so at that point you were like, I've just told Ben that I'm gonna go with someone else, and he's informed me that that person has another option that I didn't know about.
Correct. So I had no idea about that.
So when did you found out at that point that Joey was thinking that Sarah was his number one?
Not necessarily number one. So,
okay.
So I should say, so went into the date with Ben right away. I broke it off and he was like, well, do you just want to sit and chat? And that's what everyone kind of did after they like broke up. They would just sit and just chat. Yes. It's actually really fun. So we were just talking the whole time and he's like, actually, Sarah is my number one. And I really like her and I think she's it. But Joey's also talking to her, so I'm not sure. And I'm like, excuse me, wait, what do you mean? Like Joey's also talking to her. I had no idea.
Okay, so you didn't know that you were in this like silent competition with Sarah.
Correct. I had no idea. So then my next date with Joey, I told him like, hey, like, I just want to be upfront. Like, you're the only one that I'm talking to. I don't want that to freak you out. Cause like, I want you to do what you need to do to feel okay and like your own journey through this. So like explore your connections. And if you ultimately choose me, like, I want you to know that you're choosing me. That I'm, you know, the best choice for you. So obviously, ultimately he did in that moment. And Sarah chose Ben, and it seemingly worked out great in that moment.
Sure.
And then we never saw a hint of, like, we spent so much time on a love square that did not make it out of the pods. Mm-hmm. You guys were in a full love square, and then you were all at the honeymoon together, and there was no backstory for us to watch for. There was no hint of any of that, which is an interesting choice for them to make. But like during this honeymoon, was it weird for you guys, the four of you all being there? Or like, were there any awkward moments or just like weird moments with Joey where you're like, this is not going how I expected?
Honestly, for me, no. Because for me, like I'm very loyal when it comes to just like people in my life, but relationships. So like when I'm with somebody, like that's it. Like I don't kind of have my blinders on, and like no one else really, it doesn't occur to me that they're there as an option because they weren't. So when I met Ben, like it was fun to see what he looked like, but I like in my mind, I'm like, it's Joey. Like I'm not even considering this, and I didn't want to. I didn't feel anything between like Sarah and Joey at the time, but I didn't, you know, listen to my gut for a lot of other things. So like, who knows? Like it could have been happening, and I just didn't realize
but
it.
Like, as far as you were concerned, there were no vibes there. And maybe that's why we didn't see it, because there wasn't really any drama to be mined.
There wasn't anything to make hay out of.
Yeah.
So the honeymoon for you, you felt like it was smooth sailing. That's what it looked like to us. I thought after the pods that you and Joey were going to be kind of the golden couple of the season. Like we only saw you date each other. There were no hiccups. And then things started to go a bit awry when you got back to Minneapolis. So
I'm curious, because this came up later. How was the physicality between you guys during the honeymoon? Like, did you feel that there was like a mutual attraction? Did you feel like he was holding back in that regards, or in Honduras that was fine?
Yeah, it was interesting because like I had known early on in the pods that Joey doesn't like PDA. And I had even told him, I'm like, oh, I don't love PDA either. I think we had a very different definition of PDA. So he didn't do anything like romantic with me in front of people. So I chalked that up to like, okay, you really don't like PDA, and that's okay. Like behind closed doors, like we were fine. And like you know, and like we were romantic and we were like intimate, in Honduras, but just in the public with other people, he just wasn't really showing me anything. So I chalked that up to, you don't like PDA. Then I saw the other couples were more loving and more like by each other. And I started to feel something. I'm just like, hey, like, I don't love that. Like, I understand. I want to respect, you know, his boundaries with it. But also my definition of PDA is like, I don't know, like making out in public or like, you know.
That's
like,
what I would think.
It's not like anything. It's not anything other than pretending that your partner is a stranger that you're in the same room with, right?
Correct.
Oh no, I touched your elbow. That's PDA.
Yes, exactly. So that was hard for me because I mean, fair. That was hard for me. Yes.
Yeah, you want to feel like your partner is like kind of proud to be next to you and like excited to have that bond with you throughout even when you're in public.
Yeah.
And then you get back to Minneapolis, and we have to talk about your sister.
Yes.
Sisters were just a big theme of this season.
They were a big theme of the season. Nicole caught a lot of flack from the audience and from Joey for her like judgments, her attitude towards Joey during their initial meeting. I think I was like the only person who was like, Joey was rude to Nicole and she was right. But we weren't there. So I'm curious, like, what did you perceive going down during that family visit? Did you pick up on anything from Joey that you felt warranted Nicole being a little bit more like withholding from him, or did you feel like she was just coming in with like a negative attitude and not being open to him?
Yeah, so it's interesting because like obviously I know my sister so well. Like she's my best friend. I know that she's a very blunt person. And
we got that sense.
Oh yeah, and she doesn't necessarily have a filter. And so I know that about her. So I knew I was a little bit worried how she would react and what she would say. Anyway, so I knew that could be a possibility. How she handled it, I still to this day don't agree with how she handled it. And I talked to her about this. I'm like, there's one thing to be, blunt and honest, but like you can do it in a kinder way. And I don't think she necessarily did that. But like the sentiment behind what she was saying and trying to relay to me was truly to protect me and to make sure that like I was really thinking through. So like when I got back from Honduras and like when I saw my family for the first time, like I had my rose colored glasses on. I was in it. I'm like, this is my future husband. Like, this is it. This is 100%. And knowing that they hadn't seen me for a while. And like when I had left, I was single. And next time they see me, I have a fiance. And they're like, what is going on? And then I'm all like excited, like, yeah, this is your new brother. So, like,
oh my God.
So she was freaked out and she was like, dude, like, think about this. Like, this is not a game. Like, this is for real. And like, you need to be asking these questions and like truly making sure that this is okay. So the sentiment behind her actions was, correct in my mind. How she did it, that's up for discussion if that was the best way to do it.
Yeah. Maybe we can workshop delivery, but great intentions.
Correct.
But in terms of like how Joey handled the family meeting, you feel like she was just coming more from not reacting to anything that he did, but more just a general sense of caution. Like you don't really know this guy very well.
Correct. Yeah. So I think it was more general sense of caution. Also, she is a very good judge of character, and she did see something that I obviously didn't. And she thought he was a little performative. And she flagged that to me. And in the moment I was pissed. I'm like, okay, Nicole, you're just pissed that like, I don't know that I'm here with this man that you don't know. But now looking back, I'm like, she clocked something that I didn't see.
Yeah, it was interesting to watch how things played out after and be like, okay, yeah, maybe she expressed herself harshly, but it also seems like perhaps she was picking up on a vibe that was lurking underneath the surface.
Yeah. After we saw that conversation at the family meeting, you talked to Joey about her questions, the fact that she didn't really warm to him, and whether it was going to be a problem for you guys. And it seemed to me as a viewer that he didn't seem that concerned about it initially. Did you have a sense at the time that he saw Nicole not being a fan of him as a real impediment to getting married, or that he was really concerned about it? Or do you think that was a concern that came later in the process?
Yeah. So it's weird because I look at this in two views of what I was thinking in that moment, and then now watching it back, what I'm thinking now, and they're very different. So it's interesting. But in that moment, I knew it was a concern of his because he's really close with his family. I'm really close with mine. So like I knew that was an issue. Even in that moment, what I didn't love, and I think the scene is he's like folding his clothes and I'm sitting on the couch and we're chatting about it. And we had talked prior to that scene, and he had known that I was upset with my sister, because I was very upset with Nicole after that. And we had really hard conversations, and like I was angry with her for acting the way she did. And since we've had a lot of conversations and I've put up boundaries, and we've like our relationship's gotten a lot stronger just from hard conversations that we've had. But regardless, he had known that I was having those difficult conversations with my sister. So when he was like, that's something you guys need to work on, and kind of come to me when you figured it out. And I was taken aback in that moment, because I'm like, well, this is a partnership. Like this, if we're to be married, like we, you know, issues come up, and I would hope that we could handle them together, not you saying, well, that's something that you guys have to work out, nothing to do with me. I didn't love that reaction. If roles were reversed, like I would be like, what can I do? Like, can we have a sit down? Like, can I better explain myself, or get like, I would.
Right. You would be making the effort to
Correct.
Foster that connection. You felt like he was
Yes.
like, well, that's on you. Yeah, I felt a little put off watching that exchange between you guys, because on the one hand, he's like, go deal with it, that's on you. And on the other hand, he was making some like, he was almost armchair diagnosing Nicole in a way that felt kind of inappropriate and overly familiar to me as a viewer.
Yes. Watching it back, I was not happy. I'm like, how did I not see that and like question him on that? Because it was uncomfortable. Especially watching it back was uncomfortable.
On that note, we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, a whole lot more with Monica.
Can you keep up? I love it.
And we're back.
So something that we didn't get to see as viewers, but we did see in a deleted scene that was floating around, is your meeting with Joey's family. Mm-hmm. How did that meeting go?
Yeah, it went really well. Like we had 2 meetings with his family, with his sisters and his mom, and then his sisters and his dad and stepmom. So they didn't show either of those meetings, but I mean, in my opinion, they both went well. We got along well. We had great conversation. It was fun. So I was a little surprised that they didn't show them, but nothing, I guess, to note that was off or odd about them.
Well, something that I think we noticed in watching that deleted scene was that his sisters and his friends both expressed to you that they were kind of surprised and delighted that Joey had gotten this far, because historically he had been like actively uninterested in marriage. And you seemed taken aback by that. Like, was that the first time that you had heard about that sentiment?
Yes, that was the first time. I was like, oh, interesting. And again, I was wearing my rose-colored glasses, so I'm like, well, then I'm the one. I'm so special then that he chose me. But watching it back, I'm like, well, that's a red flag. Maybe should have talked more about that. But yeah, that was my first time hearing that. It was shocking.
Yeah. Shocking that he would go on the show and apparently also try to go on The Bachelor the whole time, not being that interested in marriage. Very strange decisions.
Correct.
Yeah. Notable.
Yes. Something that we also saw throughout your post-pod relationship was that Joey would always say things like, I have a lot of love for you, or he would deflect with some humor when you were trying to talk about your feelings for each other. And I know that like that can be emphasized in the edit because that's all we were shown of these moments. But like, how did that land for you at the time?
At the time, it was frustrating, for sure. And what they didn't show that was the standard answer that he always gave me every time that I would try to check in and be like, okay, where are you at? Like, if we were to be standing at the altar right in this moment, like, what would your answer be? Like, how are your feelings about me? Like, are we progressing? And his standard answer to me is, I'm still just gathering information and I'll make a choice at the end. And
Jesus,
he would say that.
Would make me so anxious.
He's on a fact-finding
Yes.
mission that has not yet been completed.
No, I was going to say that in the moment I was giving him the benefit of the doubt because
Of course.
he's more analytical. I'm more emotional. And I'm like, okay, well, I need to respect like the way he thinks and the way he does things. Like not everyone's going to process this experience the same as me. It's like I'm giving him so many outs in my brain where looking back, I'm like, okay. Like this,
Yeah.
You're like, bullshit.
yeah, it's like he's straight up telling me that he's not interested without using the words, I'm not interested. Like
He's just too analytical for status reports. Only touchy-feely people can do status reports. We all know.
That's for like emotional girls. So
Yeah, that's girl stuff.
yeah, basically.
Like there was also this thing that's like, I can't make that choice in advance. I need to just wait until the very last moment to make a decision. And it's like, well, once you make that decision, then you're kind of stuck with that decision going forward. So why can't you practice now by seeing how you feel about making that decision?
Check in a little bit. And
Check
it does seem like these are the kind of conversations that every couple is having when they're in this process. Like checking in, like this is the amount that I think I'm leaning one way or another, or I feel ready or I don't. And so it seems like most couples actually go into the wedding day having a sense of where their partner is at, even if they don't know 100% what they're going to say. How did you feel going into your wedding day? Did you feel like in the dark, or did you have a sense of what you thought you were going to say or what you thought Joey was going to say?
I for sure had a sense. I knew that he was going to say no. He never straight up said, like, I remember it was like, I think the day before, and I was pushing him and I was getting angry. I'm like, Joey, like, I'm not going to stand up there and not having a clue of where your head's at. Like, you need to just give me something here. Give me something. And he was just like, I'm still just gathering information. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm like the day before.
Jesus.
And I was getting angry. I'm like, okay, well, I guess it's a no then, Joey. Because like, you can't give me anything. So I was frustrated, but still I was hopeful that like something would spark, like something would happen, that like we were standing up there at the altar and he would say something like, you know what? I've gathered enough information and I love you. Like, you know, like I was hoping for like that moment.
Monica.
And like, it's just,
He was just building to the big punchline at the altar.
yes. And it was frustrating. Like, even looking back too, it's hard because, and I watched, I rewatched like a past season too before I kind of got into mine, because it was hard to jump into mine. So I'm like, we just got to prep a little bit with like another season. But there was a theme to me that the couples, they were like, I love you. Like, I care about you so much. Like, I like making a decision if we want to be together forever. Like, it's not a question that I love you. It's just gathering information if we want to spend the rest of our lives together. Like, that I can understand. Like, that's the whole experiment. Right. But watching back our season or our scenes, it felt like he was gathering information to see if he even liked me. And I said that at the reunion. Like, it should have been like, no, I love you. We're doing this to see if we want to be together forever, not...
Right. Are we the right fit to be lifelong partners? That's still a question. It's not a question of whether I am like into you on a basic level.
Yes.
I love that you said that at the reunion. I thought that was like a really astute observation and like very much correct.
Yes. So he never gave me that.
It just really seemed like you were not getting the affirmation that you needed throughout the entire...
So I can't get over the I have a lot of love for you thing. I kept saying during the recaps, I was like, that's something you say after a breakup. It's like, I'll always have a lot of love for you.
Yes. And
It's been great spending time with you. Yeah, it's cold, it's detached. There's like a removal there.
Yeah.
The love is there.
It's there. It's over there. It's somewhere floating in the wind. Yeah. Is it fully directed towards you? Who can say?
Yeah.
So you had these conversations, but like you, until the show came out, presumably hadn't really seen what was going on for him the day of the wedding until you met at the altar. Were you surprised at that point by what you saw from him, like telling his friends he was only a 5 out of 10 on anxiety and like longboarding into the venue, longboarding down the aisle?
I'm sorry.
Like,
I couldn't.
Was that all?
I couldn't either.
We saw that and we were like, I'm sorry, this man is now our enemy. Like we can't handle him.
I think my favorite part was when he longboarded like 10 feet into the venue from the car. I was like, you didn't need to do that, man.
Babe, that's not longboarding to the venue.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's personal branding.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're taking over here. Was that weird to see? Like, at that point, did you kind of expect it? Or were you like, oh, wow, he really wasn't even anxious about this big decision?
Yeah. Oh, watching it back was tough. It was tough because like I had already, because it's been a year since that. So I had already had the feelings that I have now. So watching it back to like further solidify that, oh, wow, even in that moment a year ago, you weren't even taking this seriously.
Right.
So it was embarrassing for me to watch. Seeing that like in that moment, that was one of the hardest days I've had. I was so emotional. I was like trying to like stay together and keep like a happy face for not even necessarily the cameras, but just like hopeful that maybe things will change. And like if this is really my wedding day, like I don't want to be sad. Like I was like trying to salvage like
there's
myself.
always that question mark. And you're also sitting there with your closest friends and family. You're in a makeup chair. Like it makes sense why you would try to keep an open mind.
Yes. And it was very, very difficult. And then so watching it back, seeing that he wasn't nervous, he's like jumping up and down with his bros and throwing the football and like all this stuff. I'm like, dude, like, could you be even act like if you're acting, man, like act a little bit better. Like at least try to act like you care.
Yeah, right. Even if you're going to say no, this is still serious. This is still.
His friends seemed much more nervous about it than
honestly.
He did. They were like, Monica's great. Like, it'd be cool if she were part of the friend group. Like, what do you think you're going to do? And he was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's toss the football.
Also, Monica, we have to ask, were you aware that he was going to wear a Hawaiian shirt and have all of his groomsmen wear Hawaiian shirts? And who made the decision on the brown belts? Because I'm like aesthetically offended by the choices.
So it's really funny. I did know about the Hawaiian shirts because that's like his brand. So he's like, that is something I really want to do. I'm like, you know what? It's your day too.
You do
if that
you,
makes
babe.
you happy, do you. Like 100%. I didn't even notice the brown belts. Now I want to go back and watch it. So I did know about that. And people are always asking about the longboard. Like if I had known about that. When we were wedding planning, he had mentioned it, and the wedding planner was like, okay, you guys, like, this is your wedding. You can, like, do what you want. Like, this is your day. And he made a joke. He's like, oh, I could longboard down the aisle? And the wedding planner was like, I guess, if you want to. He's like, oh, yeah, great. It's like, I thought he was joking. Like, I straight up did. And so when I heard
You're like,
that,
haha, hilarious.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, could you imagine? And so after the wedding, like, I didn't know he actually did that until like well after. My friends were like, did you know that he longboarded? I'm like, he what?
Oh my God, you didn't know.
I didn't know.
Oh
so it was
Jesus.
Did that help? Like, did that help you feel better about how the day had gone?
Looking back, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you're like, this is. I just feel like maybe, from a place of remove, you could just like look at the aesthetic choices and the longboarding choices and be like, that wasn't my guy. It wasn't.
Yes. Yeah. But that's rough.
I mean, I'm curious looking back on the whole thing. Like, do you think that Joey actually went on Love is Blind seriously looking for marriage or seriously open to marriage? Okay.
No. In my opinion.
Sure. Yes, this is your opinion.
No. And the other thing too, which I will note in that like clip that was released, and his friend said he only dates blondes. So we're really surprised to see that you're not a blonde. And I'm like, interesting. Okay. So he knew I wasn't blonde, like before he even saw me, because I had talked about like my background and my dad and like my, that I'm not blonde, so he knew. So it's like, okay, so you go on, you're not interested in marriage. You know that you have a very specific type in blondes. You know that I'm your fiance now and I'm not blonde, and yet you still continue on. I'm like, this whole thing, come on, man. Like,
yeah. The fact that was such a preference for him, that his friends brought it up to you, his brunette fiance, is bizarre to me. But
yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, the way that the whole wedding went down, as you noted so correctly, it just kind of seemed like he was like, this is my final performance, and that brings our time together to a conclusion. But you guys did, it seems like, continue hanging out after filming. So how did that happen? Like, who reached out first? Like, how did that conversation go? Were you guys just going to be friends, or were you dating? Like, what was the deal?
Oh, yeah. So even before we walked down the aisle, I had told him that for me, and I made this decision before I even went on the show, and I said, if I make a really strong connection, and granted, like, no like scandal happens and that I'm still good with this person, like, it's a no-brainer for me to at least date after this. I feel like we would owe that to each other to at least date. And if it doesn't work out, then you're not out anything. We can say we gave it our best shot and we can move on. So I had told him that. He had known about that. And even after we walked away from that, and we immediately, actually, after the wedding, we all went to a local bar right after, and we all just hung out and just chatted. And it was lively and happy and good. We were good. And I was sad, of course, but I'm like, you know what? Like, we can still salvage something, because if we're going to have a relationship after this, like, we can salvage it. So we were good, and we would continue to talk. I don't even know who reached out to who first. I don't even think it was an issue, because we just continuously talked. And I had told him, I'm like, hey, so like, I still feel the same, that like, I do want to be with you after this. Like, just because it didn't work out on, this timeline doesn't mean like we can't explore this further. And he gave me the same answers. I'm not sure. I just have to think about it. That just a lot's been going on. And me, again, giving him the benefit of the doubt, I'm like, you know what, you're right. Like, this was a very like stressful experience. Like, we were in like with cameras everywhere. That's not normal. Like, going back to our everyday lives and getting back into work and like getting things together. So like, I was giving grace to the situation. I'm like, okay, great. So like, what we can do then is just be in this like kind of pause state. We'll pause, we'll get our lives back on track, and then we'll come back together. And he's like, okay, great, sounds good. So we were in this like pause state for like at least a month, maybe 2 months. And we would talk every day. We would hang out all the time. We would do couple-y things together. I was like, we were shopping at IKEA for furniture. Like, we were like acting like we were in a relationship.
So you were his like emotional support, but there was no commitment to you.
Yes. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, we're getting back on track. Like, this is great. But in that time frame, we would go, for instance, like the cast got together and had a party. And at that party, he again was not by me at all. He was having like one-on-one conversations, like deep conversations in the corner with like other women, and like even hand, like arms around everyone, like the girls, and like arms around the waist and like pulling them closer, like acting like a very single bachelor man when I'm right there. And then I called him out on it, and I'm like, dude, like, what is going on? Like, you're not acting in a way that's like respectful to me, like knowing that like I'm waiting here for you and you're blowing me off again. Like, what is going on? And he told me, he's like, what do you mean, Monica? We're just friends. I thought we talked about that. And I'm like, what?
Okay.
I'm like,
Interesting.
no, I'm like, we were going to have a conversation, Joey. Like, that's not what I heard. And he's like, oh, it must have been a miscommunication. Cause like, that's what I said. And I'm like, no, like that's not okay. So now fast forward to watching the season and that like final scene when it was at the wedding and they had asked him, Joey, do you see a future with Monica? And he's like, no, I do not see a romantic future with her at all. He knew that day and led me on for a couple months after.
He didn't tell you that he had said that.
No. So watching that back, I was hurt. I was furious. I'm like, are you kidding me? And
the audacity.
Oh yeah. And like the worst part of it is, and the worst part of kind of all of this is if he was just honest with me, like if he just told me, even like when we saw each other for the first time, if he was like, hey, you're not my type, or I'm not interested, or even down the line, like, hey, I don't want to get married, I'm not really into this, or even after, like, hey, I just want to be friends. Like, if he was just straight up honest with me, any point of this process, I would have understood. I would have been bummed, but I would have been, you know what, like, I get it, and thank you for being honest with me. Like, it could have been so much different, but the fact that he just led me on and lied throughout the whole thing, like, that's where I'm angry. Like, just be honest.
Of course. I mean, there's a difference. Like, rejection is something that stings, but people can get over it. Adults get over rejection. It happens. We've all experienced it. Something that's harder to get over is disrespect. And it feels like what you experienced was just very disrespectful of who you are as a person, of your time and energy and emotion. Like,
yes.
That makes me feel just rage on your behalf, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
During the reunion, you mentioned that things did get physical between you guys a couple of times post-show, and Joey kind of scoffed and was like, just one time. What was that like during the time when you were kind of hanging out and he was like, maybe we'll date soon? Things got physical during that time?
Yes. So that was another aspect that made it even more confusing. So I'm like, okay, if you thought we were just friends, do you hook up with your friends? I mean, maybe, but like, I don't. So like, it was another layer of, this is like, you're leading me on, dude. Like, come on.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy to like continue the physical relationship and then be like, we were obviously just friends.
Yes.
Okay. So recently, Joey and his sisters have said that you guys were all still good until about 2 months ago, and then you stopped talking to them, and they're like, we don't know why this happened. Why did that happen?
It's very interesting. Okay, so the timeline. I wish I had like a written, drawn timeline because it would be so much easier. But
yeah, it's very complicated.
It is. So trying to like simplify it. So after filming, let's call it 2 months. Joey and I, we were in this limbo for like 2 months. When he was like, we're just friends, I stopped all communication, and we didn't talk for, I don't even know, several months after that. Cause I'm like, if we are going to be just friends, like I can't be hanging out with you. I can't be seeing you. Like I need time to heal, and to walk away. So I wasn't talking to anybody in that time, including his sisters. Cause another interesting piece that Joey had told me that in past relationships, when he would break up with the girlfriend, the girlfriend would still stay in touch with his sisters, and he didn't like that, and that made him uncomfortable. So knowing that, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to do that because obviously that makes you uncomfortable. So I'm not going to talk with your sisters behind your back, basically. So I wasn't talking to any of them. So then after that time, we became friends again. I'm like, you know what? Like, we can get through or get past this. Like, we can be friends now. This is fine. So then resumed talking to everyone. I will say didn't talk to the sisters a ton, but we were all good and we were friends and like saw them a few times. I don't know the exact timeline when we saw each other, but we were good up until all this stuff with Madison came out.
Okay.
Interesting.
So I started to hear all this Madison stuff that I talked about at the reunion, that he had slid into her DMs during filming and that he was lying to me saying that Madison was coming on to him. And so all of this stuff. So at the reunion, that story that Madison and I approached Joey and asked him like, what's going on? He completely lied again. He's like, I never said that, Monica. I'm like, well, you did. But anyway, after that moment, like I had yelled at Joey. I'm like, Joey, like we're done. Like stop. I'm like, we're not cool anymore. Like just like kind of stopping all communications. So he knew why I stopped talking to him. They know what happened.
Interesting. Do you think that Joey just thought that you and Madison would never talk about this and that you guys would never confront him together?
I think so because Madison and I, we're never super close. Like we're cordial, we're good, but we just gravitate towards different people. So
Sure.
We're never like best friends or anything. So I think, and this is my opinion, but my opinion is he just didn't think that I would go talk to her about it. And I did. And I think that maybe was surprising to him and he got caught in the corner and didn't know what to do. So that's how I think it went down.
So he was saying to you, like, in this period when you were friends again, like, oh, Madison's been trying to hit on me, or that happened during the earlier period when you were almost dating?
That was in the earlier period.
Okay.
No, I know the timeline's
Yeah,
hard.
but then you found out about the DM later.
And okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
So that whole time, like he had told me this, the time that we were like in limbo, that's when he was telling me about this Madison stuff hitting on him. And I had believed him this whole entire time. So I was like staying away from Madison. I was feeling some sort of way. I'm like, I thought we were good. Like, what's going on? And then finally, months and months later, that's when I talked to Madison about it. And then the shit hit the fan. And then I'm like, oh,
And you believe, for the record, you believe Madison's version of this.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, just for the record. I mean, I love that all of the women seem to arrive at the reunion ready to like be like, no, we back each other. We back each other's stories. Like that was very powerful. So something that didn't come up at the reunion, but has been in the conversation as of late, is that there are a lot of rumors swirling about Sara and Joey's relationship, circling back to the blondes of it all.
We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, more with Monica, including those rumors that her ex-fiance and Sara are dating.
Can you keep up? I like love it.
And we're back. Sarah went on the Vile Files and denied this. I saw that both Joey and Sara have denied that they are dating on their like respective Instagram stories. What is your understanding of their relationship?
Oh, yes. Okay. So this is a little bit of a timeline. So I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible. So I'll start off with saying like during filming and all the engaged women, we got very close. And we said early on, we're like, we have each other's backs. Like this is a crazy time. We'll support each other if you need anything, if you want to vent or just talk. Like, And we continued that relationship throughout filming, after filming. Like, we had a friendship, and we would all get together and connect and vent, and we knew everything about each other. Like, we were true friends. In my mind, we were. And up until probably a good couple months ago, I'd say maybe a month ago now. And so Sarah was obviously part of the engaged women, and I considered her a really good friend. And I would vent to her about like personal, intimate details that I didn't even talk about on camera, like between Joey and I. And she knew my feelings. She knew things that he had done and said to me that like weren't okay. Like, I fully told her everything about my relationship and myself. And she was supportive through the whole thing. She's like, I got your back. Like, I love you. You're my friend. You can tell me anything. You can trust me. Like, I leaned on the women and Sarah as well. And we would hang out, and like I went and visited her when she was living in Nashville, and I even offered her, I have an extra room in my apartment. I'm like, hey, if you move back and you need a place to crash, like I have an extra room. Like, we were friends. So when I started hearing things that like, oh, she's hanging out with Joey and like in a friend group, and I knew they were friends, and even that I was a little like, oh God, don't love that, because you know all of this information. But again, I'm like, benefit of the doubt. We all met each other. Like, people gravitate towards different people with friends. Like, we're adults. Like, I'm trying to let it go. It's okay. And I was very open to her about that. I'm like, it's kind of uncomfortable for me, but like, just, I want you to know that this is how I'm feeling. But like, we can still remain friends if it's just separate, whatever. So then I start hearing more and more that like, it might be more than friends. And I'm like, no, like, she would never do that. She would never do that to me. That's crazy. And I remember specifically, this was, again, with the timelines, I think this was probably a month ago. She was on my couch in my apartment, saying how that she supports me and this has been a hard time, and like the show's going to come out, and like she has my back and anything that I need, and I can come to her. And I believed her. And then we get to the reunion, and Joey and Sarah are sitting next to each other, of course, like we all saw. And then at the very end, they didn't show this, Nick and Vanessa turned to Sarah, and they're like, is anything going on between you two? And I was shocked. I'm like, what? It was the first time I had heard anything like that. And they got very awkward and they denied it. And they're like, no, we're just good friends. And I was shocked. I'm like, what is that? Like, what just happened there? So then I, processing everything, that I had texted her, and I'm like, Sarah, like, I'm hearing a lot of stuff that's going on. Like, will you please just be upfront with me? Because this is crazy. So she called me, and she said that I wanted to tell you sooner, but that Joey and I are seeing each other, that we're, quote, enjoying each other's company, that nothing's official because we're getting a lot of hate online and we don't want this to make it worse. So we want to die down before we have a conversation to see if we want to make it official or not. And I was incredibly upset, and I'm like, what? I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this is not okay. Like, you were just in my couch telling me how much you love me and support me and you have my back. And during that time you were with him. And she had said that timeline that they were together for, I think, a month, she said. So this was now over 2 months ago. And I've said this, like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's been longer. So during this time when I'm venting to her about my relationship with Joey, like giving the ins and the outs and the intimate details and like my feelings and like trusting her like a friend, like she was with him that whole time. And she didn't say anything to me. And other people from the cast that I considered friends, they knew. And nobody told me. No one even gave me a hint or tipped me off about it. So like this is all happening and I was none the wiser, and I would still hang out with them. I went and got my nails done with them like a few days before the reunion when all of this was still going on. It's like they sat with me, chatting with me, getting our nails done, and like knowing all this stuff. So it's really hard. It was really, really hard. It still is. And like, I want to make it really clear too, like, I'm not surprised that Joey would do something like this. Like, I'm not surprised at all. I'm hurt that Sarah would do this to me because I thought that we were friends and we were close, and like, friends do not do that. Like, that's a betrayal. Like, that's not okay. And even if, say, granted, like, they did have this connection in the pods, and there was maybe, like, if there was something there, there's a way to go about it. Again, like, be upfront with people. Yeah. Like, we are adults. You can come to me, like, early on and be like, hey, I know we're friends. This is probably a really awkward conversation, but I think there might be something there between Joey and I. I wanted to tell you first that, like, I would like to explore this, but like, I respect you and I want to have a conversation. Like, that would have been a hard conversation to have, but a respectful conversation to have. And that was not the case at all. And the fact that they're still denying everything publicly is like, every time I see something, I'm like, you guys, come on. Like,
the jig is up.
Exactly. I'm like, just own up to it. And like, they're going out in public together and like kissing and stuff, and then they're going online denying it. I'm like, you guys, like, come on.
Yeah,
just
that's crazy.
Own up to it.
Did you get the sense when you talked to her, like, she understood what a violation that was? That like, you didn't have the information that you should have had to decide whether she was someone that you would continue confiding in about these things for a long period of time. Like, did she seem to have a sense that you had a right to be upset with her, that this was a betrayal? Or was she just kind of like, oh, hey, we're keeping this hush hush from the press, but like, yeah, we're dating? Because that, I don't understand.
I don't understand either. Like, I don't know exactly what she's thinking and going on. So I don't know. From like my impression, I know that she felt bad, but not enough to stop anything, or not enough to, like, I don't know, have a mature conversation about it. I don't think they understand how big of like a betrayal this is, which is frustrating, because for me, like, right after filming, I didn't even want to talk to, for instance, like Ben or Dave. Like, I didn't even want to be friends with them because I was having the girls' backs. And I was very careful. Like, if I had run into them in public, I would tell Sarah, I'd be like, hey, just so you know, like, I did run into Ben, like, nothing, I'm not hanging out with him or anything, but like, if you hear something, just know. Like, I was very respectful.
So maybe you feel like you were being hypersensitive to those relationships, and you don't feel like you received that in return. Because you said, things happen, everyone's an adult. Like, maybe you discover that you have a connection with someone that used to have a connection with your friend. That is a hard conversation to have. But it is so different to move forward with a relationship and allow your friend to be kind of the last one to know. Like, that is the really rough part here, less than that just them getting together at some point, which you probably could have wrapped your head around if it had been presented to you with like respect and like an openness.
Exactly. And also, I'll say the timeline too. The timeline of like, this is when the show is dropping. Like, this all happened when our season is dropping, and we're all watching this back, and it's incredibly emotional. And she knows how emotional it is, because she did the same thing that I did. So like, she knows what I'm feeling, and watching it back and having it be out there in the world, like, that is just a hard time in and of itself. And they still chose in that time to pursue something. And like, there's a way to do this. You wait. Like, if it's like really a thing, like, you wait and you do it respectfully. Like, have empathy for people, especially empathy for a friend. Like, it's just how they went about this was so hurtful. It just blows my mind.
And really feels like they should just like own it at this point. Like what?
Yes.
What are we doing?
Exactly. And I even told Sarah, like in the conversation on the phone, I was very upset with her. I'm like, you know what? After all this, like, I hope you don't get hurt, because you know exactly what Joey did to me, exactly intimate details. And as a person to a person, like woman to woman, like, I hope you don't get hurt too. So just be careful of that.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things I can't get over, that you both had kind of similar ends, in a sense, to your relationships, where you were trying to continue to see them after the show and then were sort of like dropped unceremoniously. And Sarah was very like, Ben showed who he is, like, I don't trust him anymore, but doesn't seem to have that takeaway from your experience with Joey. Like, yeah, I can't imagine like looking at someone that my friend had that experience with and being like, but he won't do it to me.
Yeah.
That's like hard for me to wrap my head around.
Yeah.
And even like opening that door at all. Like, I would never do that to a friend ever. Like, I wouldn't even let my mind wander there. Like, that is off limits. But that's just me. I mean, maybe I'm hypersensitive and whatever, but like, it's just, the whole thing blows my mind.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they know that it would make people, like, when this sort of thing plays out on camera, like if people had known that they were involved to the end in the pods, there would have been more scrutiny on their dynamic to begin with. Like, those relationships that transpire under those circumstances after filming are often highly criticized, and people have a lot to say, and they're clearly just like hoping to
They were hoping to fly under the radar. Like, that footage of them dating didn't air, and clearly they were counting on you just being silent and not sharing your part in the story, which also feels just kind of insane. Like, you are a person with a voice as well.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's the hardest part for me with all of this too, is just the lies. It's the lies. And I said this
at every
before,
turn, really.
At every turn. I said this before, like, we would not be sitting here today with these issues that we're sitting with if people were just upfront. Like, during filming, if Joey was just upfront with me that he wasn't interested, wouldn't have these issues. If they were upfront with me with seeing each other, just, we wouldn't have these issues. It's the lies. And like, I'm getting so sick of it. And even now it's like, come on guys, like, come on, like, just own up to it. And it drives you crazy. And
well, I really respect you, like, putting it out into the open and speaking your truth and not kind of being cowed by that. It's obviously, it's like hard. I have so much empathy for anyone who goes on any of these shows. Like, you are subject to like so much emotional turmoil and then reliving it, and plus criticism from the public. But I really like commend you for being open and honest and also empathetic in your assessment of your castmates. I'm curious, like, it seems to me like you and Sarah don't really have a relationship now as a result of this. Is that correct?
No, we don't have a relationship. I think like me, like I only have so much energy. I'm not going to put energy into people that treat me that way. Like, I have a lot of other amazing friends and people that care about me and like respect me. I don't need to keep relationships like that. It's not worth it in my life.
Yeah. It seems like there were also other people from the show that it affected your trust with, like people that you thought were close enough that they would tell you. Like, has it affected the whole social dynamic of the group that this happened?
I would say so. For me, at least, yes, because I mean, I pride myself on being a good friend. Like, I try hard to be a good friend. Like, I really care about the people that I choose to have in my life. So seeing things like knowing something this grand that would really hurt somebody and not saying anything, especially to a friend, Like, that's not how I would operate, and that's not how I want people in my life to operate. So again, like, I don't have energy to give people that wouldn't show me the kindness that I would show them.
Fair enough.
So, and like, and the thing is, like, I don't want to, I don't know, go naming names and saying like, hate you guys, like whatever, like, you made your choice. We're all adults again. But my choice is to pull my energy away, and we don't have a relationship anymore. So we'll just go our separate ways.
Sure. Who are your close friends from the show?
Yeah, I love Meg. I love Meg so much. So she's probably like my bestie from the show. But I'm really close with other girls that didn't necessarily get like a ton of screen time. But like, I love Kylie and Amanda and B Dot. Love B Dot.
She seems so awesome.
Oh, she's great. I love Virginia. Virginia's been like just supporting me. Like, we support each other. I do love Virginia too. So I mean, they're amazing relationships that I made, like strong, amazing women that I'm so thankful to have in my life.
Yeah. I have been, like, you and Meg are like joined at the hip on social media, and like you have each other's content. So I know you guys are friends.
Yes.
I'm happy to hear about
that
Virginia
come out of the show. Yeah.
I've been really, another person who I've been really enjoying hearing her full-throated voice after the show is Virginia.
Yes.
She's just been so awesome.
Yes. I love her.
So it sounds like this whole year has been honestly very turbulent for you, and like just going through a lot of the kinds of experiences that might make it hard to like be open or trusting, like feeling like people close to you are not being honest with you, are withholding from you. So like, where are you at with kind of like taking the next step towards dating? Are you dating now? Are you open to dating, or are you like kind of still working through things?
I'm for sure not dating now. I think there's, not to say that I've never ever in my life, like hopefully, yes, I will. But no, in this moment,
You
like,
need a little break.
I need a break. I need a break for sure. There's just so much going on, and going through something like this, it doesn't end when the cameras turn off. And it doesn't end after you finish that last episode, for us, at least. Like, this is our real lives. Like, we went through this. Like, we're not actors. Like, this was our reality. And I learned so much through this, like good, bad, otherwise. And I need to sit with that. Like, I need to sit with what I learned and like how that reshaped me, and like how I'm going to take some of those lessons into like the next chapter with a relationship too. Like, I've learned a lot about relationships and men, and things to question and red flags to be aware of. So I think just sitting with that, healing with that, and then moving on to hopefully find my actual person. I don't know how long that will be though. So we'll see.
I mean, watching you, I have no doubt that you are going to find your person from the outside. That, you know, I think we are not concerned about you, and frankly, we were like, please run from Joey. So
yeah, in a way, it's like we were like, she's such a gem. Joey, like, I feel like what's out there for her is going to be so much better, and he's not going to longboard down the aisle, and he's going to look at you, and he's going to cry when you walk down the aisle, which I really related to. I wanted my husband to cry when he saw me walk down the aisle, and he didn't, but we're still married, and I'll never get that back, you know?
Just
I'll
like
never get that back. You have another chance.
Yeah.
I know, like one tear. What's it going to hurt you to just have one tear?
Just do it. Just do it. Just do it for us.
I believe you're going to find that man who weeps at his good fortune.
I did not meet my now husband until I was 31, and honestly, it's been great. So I just got married a few weeks ago, and I'm 37. So like,
nice.
You're going to be fine.
Yeah.
You're going to be great.
We're excited to see what's next for you. What is next for you? Like, are you just kind of riding through this, or is there anything else outside of dating that you're looking to next, now that you're kind of closing the chapter on Love is Blind?
Yeah, I think just getting my life back together, like finding, this might be like really, I don't know, menial, but like finding a routine again. Like, I'm a very routine oriented person, and like I would get up, do my job, go to the gym, like all that. Like I have no routine right now. Like I feel like I need to just get my life in order. And I'm a contractor, so I took some time, like a couple months, to deal with life right now. So just getting back into my career, like getting a routine, like feeling myself again and like feeling whole again. Cause I feel like I've given so much and like little pieces of me are just spread everywhere. I need to like collect them back together and just be okay again to move on with life.
Yeah, I love that for you. Getting back to a little normalcy and like just like in those soap savers where you press all the pieces of soap back together. That's gonna be you soon.
And hopefully you do have this like newly found online community that is going to stick with you and be excited for you. And we're definitely excited to see what's next for you. And we just wish you all the best. And thank you so much for being so candid in this conversation. It's been like truly such a pleasure.
Thank you guys. No, thank you for talking with me. This is great. I feel even better just getting my story out there and just being heard. So I appreciate you having me.
Oh, of course. We had such a great time.
Wow. Claire, that was quite a conversation. I'm now obsessed with Monica. She was so lovely and giving of her time and was, I think, super honest and thoughtful about her experiences.
She's so fun. That was like just a fun hang. But I can't help but think about how disorienting it would be to keep having these moments where you realize that you are being lied to or were being lied to by so many people that you had let into your life in a very intimate way. I feel like I would start going nuts. I would be like, oh my God, everything's a lie. I can't trust anyone.
Especially because it seems like there was, and I do not use this term lightly, but there was like a low level of gaslighting going on in her entire relationship with Joey. It kind of comes up as a theme, like him just being like, oh, I just need more time. Oh, you thought that I just needed more time? No, I said we were friends. Madison's hitting on me. Oh, what are you talking about? I never said Madison's hitting on me. Like that is so disorienting. And then you add onto it this friendship betrayal, which is just really rough. And look, I really enjoyed Sarah on the show. I've really enjoyed her in the aftermath of the show. I thought she did a great job at the reunion. And it just makes me super sad that they are on bad terms now. And I have two minds of it. Like on the one hand, I'm like, if I were in Monica's shoes, I also would like have to end the friendship. Like that is
100%.
That is a huge betrayal. And I'm also like worried for Sarah, frankly.
Yeah. I mean, I think that first of all, like that is the choice that you're making if you're Sarah or you're in Sarah's position.
100%.
Is like
if you date your friend's ex, like
right. I can either choose not to be open to this and preserve my friendship, or I can put my friendship at risk because I'm choosing the guy. I'm prioritizing that. That's a choice that sometimes I think is valid to make if you think that that is your guy. And I think that would have been the case even if she had been upfront, which is what she should have done.
100%.
Like there's a very strong likelihood that your friend is going to be like, okay, I'm not going to be able to really be close to you anymore.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it's like based on what I'm hearing coming out about Sarah and Joey, I'm like, well, he told Monica for their whole relationship that they couldn't really be official yet because he couldn't make a decision because he was gathering information. And now, I don't know, I'm hearing that like they just can't be official yet because there's just a lot going on and maybe they'll be official later. I'm like, Sarah, is this your decision?
Dude, that is such a good point. Oh my gosh, who is driving the charge to keep this all on the down low? And yeah, it does seem kind of convenient. Never official.
Things are just
we
too
live
crazy.
In the gray area.
Things are too crazy for Joey to ever be official with anyone. It's like, when are things going to be chill enough for Joey to make a decision about someone?
He's just giving me real bad vibes. And it does seem, obviously Monica, I don't think is trying to start conflict with anyone else on the cast publicly, but it seems pretty clear to me from what I've seen on social media that this has likely impacted her relationships with like Taylor and Daniel and Lauren as well, because they're kind of in a crew with Sarah and I guess now Joey. And that sucks because that sucks. You know,
it just sucks.
It just sucks. It just sucks.
Yeah.
It just sucks.
Yeah.
I also actually find it interesting that she's on good terms with Madison.
Yeah.
Even if they're not close, like they
Mhm.
seem like it does seem like that is a relationship where like there is a mutual respect because there is honesty there.
Interesting the way that the show, like the storylines they choose to highlight, shape how we react to these things and how they get drawn out and covered. Because again, like if they had made this love square more of a thing on the season, I think that this would all be hitting differently.
Yeah.
And I think that there is, among the viewership, maybe more of a sense of like, okay, so they just like connected after the show. Whereas if they had seen them as in a love square in the pods, it would seem more like a betrayal. That's what we see play out usually when someone goes to their other top connection in the pods after things break down with the person they chose on the show. I also think that it's interesting to think that like some of the things that people do on the show that are messy, that create drama, are exactly the things that it seems like Joey didn't do on the show that could have brought some of this to light earlier. Like maybe they didn't show him meeting Sarah because he didn't say anything weird. And in other instances, we might have seen a guy be like, oh, well, she's really my type. She's hot and blonde.
Right.
If he just keeps all that stuff under wraps, then it doesn't really come out in a way that plays to camera. And then those storylines don't really come out into the public view. But then we're seeing ultimately down the road, like he can't fake it forever.
Yeah, it does seem like he is kind of, well, he has this like congenial front, which is most of what we saw and most of what comes across on camera. And he's also very controlled. Like he's careful with his words. He was careful not to make promises to Monica. You know, so there were no promises that were broken that they could show. And what we're seeing is that it was the off-camera interactions where it starts to get messy. He starts to slide into Madison's DMs off-camera. He's not going up and striking up a flirty conversation with her on the night. He's sliding into the DMs after, and and counting on the fact that because Monica and Madison aren't close, Monica will never find out about it.
Well, and I'm sure some of this I've seen people positing that like Minneapolis is just a very repressed place because of how everyone knows each other, and like everyone has deep roots there, and like no one wants to act crazy on camera or embarrass themselves in front of their tight-knit community. I think it is the most repressed season we've ever seen. It might also just be, I mean, every season I'm gonna take accountability. I come out here and I'm like, dude, don't say that. Just don't say that. Why do you have to say that? They have to say it for two reasons. One, for the camera, so that we have drama when the creepy guy goes up to his also ran and is like, you're really hot in person. Like, if only I'd known. And secondly, it does just get out all the stuff that's going to ultimately play out in that relationship. It gets it out on the table
in the
earlier.
Open. Yeah,
right.
No, you're so right. I mean,
we should be encouraging people to say more of the disgusting.
Just
rude
say.
things.
I mean, yeah,
just say it.
You're like Shane did say a lot of the things.
He sure did say a lot of things.
I do find it so interesting. I've been listening to all the interviews that AD has been doing on her new podcast, What's the Reality? And something that has separately come up in every interview that she has done with someone from this cast is this idea of like Midwestern or Minnesota nice, where there is this like feeling of to a fault, like I need to protect the other person in this scene with me. I need to like not ruffle too many feathers. I need to not upset anyone. I don't want to like make hay of anything. And so that is like the repression that we are seeing. There's so much under the surface. And it does feel like, at least with the women, now that they have been released from the structure of the show, and they are seeing also that like feathers, A, it's okay if we ruffle a few feathers, and B, feathers are getting ruffled and people are getting up in arms and you're getting a reaction even if you say nothing. And you're just more likely to be misunderstood, frankly, if you say nothing. Now they are out here actually saying their piece in a real way. Like I've definitely noticed it with Lauren, with Virginia, with Monica.
Well, it's like the whole cliche about the worm finally turning, right? Like if you're constantly repressing yourself to offer consideration and protection to the other person, and all they do is grind their heel down on the top of your head, eventually most people snap. That's just human nature. But I think the season would have been like, this is the perennial thing we talk about now and then with reality TV villains, is we criticize their behavior. We do. Like, we're just like everyone else. We're like, she shouldn't have said that. That was uncalled for. That was messy. But those people are ultimately necessary to the creation of the heroes, and they are necessary to moving along the plot of the show and making compelling TV. So in a way, they are kind of, there should be some like value for what they do. Yeah. And if everyone is trying so hard to not be the villain, then there's no show, and there's just a bunch of people who have no idea where they stand with each other, frankly.
And also, you can't outrun your villainy at a certain point.
Yeah, sometimes you're just a bad person, and I think that's
just kidding. Everyone is so complicated, and we are all complicated. Look, we're all humans. We're all villains and heroes in our stories and other people's stories at different points in our lives. That is just what it is. But I do think like repressing all of these emotions, it doesn't mean you're not having them. Mm-hmm. Joey can say he's so analytical, he has no emotions. That's bullshit. Like, there are emotions. There are attractions. He clearly had a tepidness about Monica in a way that he wasn't willing to admit. Yeah. And that didn't save him.
Yeah.
Like, having the hard conversations actually can save you pain in the long run. And I feel like that is like the best lesson from this season of Love is Blind.
Look at Zach, Bliss, and Irina.
Oh my God, that's such a good point.
Such a villain. But you know what? She was so awful to Zach so early on that they were able to almost laugh and be like, we're a terrible match.
Yeah, they were like, this is bad.
Bliss. And now he and Bliss have a baby. Like, what if they had dragged it on for 6 months?
And also now we look at Irina with like some affection, and she was able to in the aftermath of the show be like, yeah, I've really assessed my own behavior. And also Zach and I were like a terrible match.
But yeah, it's better to like just get that out there immediately.
Yeah.
So on that note, I think we should just wrap it up with reality TV villains serve a purpose, more of a purpose than repression and faking it. And we should all just embrace our inner villain rather than try to cover everything up with some facade of good behavior and lying to each other.
No lying. Don't lie to each other. It's bad.
Lie to each other. It was so nice to talk to Monica about everything she went through. And I'm hoping that good things are on the horizon for her.
Me too. I mean, I said this, but I really do believe it. Like, a better match, a better relationship, a better love is coming for her. And I'm just excited to see what she does next. On that note, that is it for this episode of Love to See It with Emma and Claire. Thanks again to our wonderful guest, Monica Danus.
Love to See It is a presentation of Odyssey. The show is produced by us, Claire Fallon and Emma Gray. This episode was edited by Tori Piskin. Our theme music is by Tamar Haviv, and our art is by Aaron Nestor.
If you like our show, remember to follow us, rate us 5 stars, leave a review, and of course, spread the word to all of your friends about Love to See It.
If you want to get in touch, you can email us at claireandemmapod@gmail.com.
Don't repress your feelings about our show. Let them be known. You can also find us on TikTok at Love to See It Pod and on Instagram at Claire and Emma Pod. And you can find our newsletter, Rich Text, on Substack at claireandemma.substack.com. I'm also on Blue Sky at Emma Gray and on Instagram at Emma Lady Rose.
And I'm at Claire E. Fallon. Special thanks to the team at Odyssey: Eric Donnelly, Aaron Constantino, Kate Rose, Maura Curran, Melissa Wester, Carly Snyder, and Hillary Schutz.
We'll be back next week for the finale of grand season of The Bachelor.
Can you keep